Today, for the Bitcoin price, we will talk with Carl from the Moon about the fact that it might be the best time to buy Bitcoin before the end of this year. The central banks, 37 central banks, are using quantitative easing techniques like Hong Kong, Bahrain, Kuwait, and so on. And they are expanding the money supply all over the world, not only in Europe and the United States. Also, the halvening is coming closer and closer. And we will talk about why right now it might be the best time up until the end of the year to buy Bitcoin. We have Carl from the Moon, and we want to ask the most important question of today. Carl from the Moon, how are you doing today, my man?
I'm doing extremely well. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty well. I broke my leg, you cannot see it. I'm walking pretty nice, but yeah, other than that, I'm doing very well. So what about Bitcoin? We saw some major news that all the central banks in the world are printing money like until infinity. And yeah, also the stock markets are at an all-time high. What is your prediction for the Bitcoin price? And yeah, what do you think about the current retracement?
Yeah, so yeah, first of all, like you said, central banks, they are printing money like crazy into infinity. And like on my channel, I always talk about the Federal Reserve, but it's not only the Federal Reserve at all. For example, the Swiss central bank is a bank that globally has a reputation of being responsible with money printing. But if you compare the Fed and the Swiss central bank since 2008, the Federal Reserve has printed like 4 times the money supply, in terms of physical dollars. The Swiss central bank has expanded the money supply by 12 times. So not at all is the Federal Reserve the most irresponsible, but they are all irresponsible. And actually, I think the Swiss central bank stopped printing just like 2 years ago or something. But yeah, we see most of these central banks' balance sheets. They are extremely hard to normalize by now because we have reached such high levels, and the global debt is just increasing by every day.
It's at a new all-time high every day.
Yeah, every day.
And there is a common misconception. Everyone thinks like only the Federal Reserve and the ECB in Europe are printing money like crazy. You can see it's happening in second and third world countries as well. And if the money supply is getting overextended more and more, and something else like, I don't know, gold, paintings, watches, and Bitcoin are getting more scarce and scarce towards the money supply, there's only one thing which can happen in the very long run, and this is the price denominated in fiat currencies to go up. That means that this is the perfect hedging strategy for you. We are not saying like only buy Bitcoin, but this has probably the best risk-return ratio, and this might be the only way for yourself to save yourself from the flawed financial system right now. Also, we can see that not only Bitcoin is going up, but also the stock markets. But the stock markets, they have underlying fundamentals. And if the price deviates too much from the underlying fundamentals, as it is the fact right now, then something like a major crash is actually imminent. So what do you think about the stock market? And do you think that this crash, which is probably going to happen, maybe even hopefully very soon, how will it affect the price of Bitcoin?
Yeah, so yeah, when you have artificially low interest rates for an extended period of time, the consequence will be that people use this cheap credit to speculate, and usually people use this credit to go into the stock markets, the real estate markets, buy expensive watches, buy expensive cars, and that's why we see all of these assets and things go up in value. And yeah, at some point this will correct, because you cannot keep inflation or the interest rates artificially low forever. And we already see how the Fed and other central banks are trying to normalize interest rates. They tried quantitative tightening, and basically, yeah, the US stock market is at an all-time high. And what I think is that this crash that is definitely going to happen, it's inevitable. It could happen tomorrow, it could happen within 1 year, I would say at most 2 years. And I do believe that this will put people's attention towards Bitcoin, and it will be very, very beneficial for the Bitcoin price.
Yeah, also for everyone watching right now, let us know in the comment section down below. Are you invested only in Bitcoin? Are you invested in stocks, in real estate, in gold? We would like to know your portfolio allocation just in percentage wise. Let us know in the comment section down below. It would be extremely interesting to know. And yeah, what do you think about the price of Bitcoin, or about the Bitcoin price going into the halving in 2020 in May? Do you think we will see a new all-time high before? What is actually your expectation for the stock markets? And do you think there will be a small little like correlation maybe once it crashes? So what is actually going to happen, especially up until the halving?
I think that if we do see a stock market crash within a year, I do believe that the Bitcoin price will heavily go up in price because of that. And even if we don't see a financial crisis, we will still see the Bitcoin price due to the halving hype increase in value, because the stock to flow ratio, the newly created supply in relation to the already existing stock is just such an important metric. And I do believe that people will further realize the importance of Bitcoin and the scarcity of Bitcoin, and especially in these countries where the inflation is much more apparent in daily life to people. That's where people already today serves a very, very useful purpose. And I think that so in the actual big financial crisis, which will be a global crisis, I think that this high inflation will be more apparent globally, even in the US, even in Sweden, where I'm from. But I would actually argue that the inflation is already extremely high. I mean, if you look at the central bank's official metrics, they say maybe 2%, 1%. They target 2%.
It's at least 5. If you
it's a
take
huge
the
lie,
other
yeah.
thing, yeah.
Yeah,
If you take 5% is maybe even not exaggeration, because if you look at the real estate prices and stuff, so many things which are not going into the official basket of the inflation rate calculation are growing much higher than 5% per year.
Yeah, it's called the CPI, Consumer Price Index. Mike Maloney, he usually calls it the CP lie, and I like that. I like that.
That's amazing.
That is actually true, because it is basically a lie. It's to conceal the truth and to hide the fact that the inflation is much higher than we are.
It's actually very easy to manipulate that. Just to take things into this basket which are not inflating in price as heavy as other things like, I don't know, watches or real estate. And yeah, you see what happens with the percentages is at like 2%, which is heavily lower than it should be actually right now. Also, I agree with you to a very certain, to a high degree of certain, like to a very high degree, I agree with you. But there's one thing: if the stock markets crash, I think the people will start selling, and they will first start selling into the US dollar, and also there will be something like a short-term shock for Bitcoin. So I think in the very short term, the US dollar might profit from that, since it's the world reserve currency right now. But in the midterm already, people will fly into Bitcoin and into other commodities like gold and stuff. So yeah, in the midterm we agree, and in the long run, I think everyone will agree with us what will happen to the price of Bitcoin. So thank you so much for joining our episode today. Thank you so much for watching, guys. This was a very special one. We are here still in Singapore. We will say goodbye to each other right now. So thanks for watching. Make sure you smash up the like button. There is a Bible tutorial also popping up by my side right now, somewhere here. Make sure you click it right now. And yeah, we will see each other very, very soon at the next one of MMCrypto, most probably tomorrow. And also, Car's link in the pinned comment down below. Make sure you click it. And as always, guys, bye-bye.